Hi, I'm Jim Mars, and I've always been interested in secret things, alternative stories. My background is as a news reporter, and I learned early on about the so-called secret societies. My question was, do they really exist? And more importantly, do they have any power? Over a period of 30, 35 years, I have studied, read, talked, experienced, and I want to tell you they're real, they're here, and yes, within the inner core elite, they definitely have power. And I think this is an anathema to the whole concept of a free, open, and democratic America.
The concept of New World Order, even the term, before you even get into the whole subject matter, you only need to look at the term. New World Order is found in Latin underneath the pyramid on the dollar bill, Norvis Oda Seclorum, which comes from the Latin poet Ovid. So it's an old Roman concept, a Roman term. Roman symbolism is something that needs to be studied because you have the Roman eagle, which was then picked up by the Nazis, and now you find it in America. You find it at the top of the flagpoles, you find it on the federal government, you find it on the dollar bill, the symbol of the eagle. In the landing on the moon, you hear them talking about the eagle has landed. You know, what kind of eagle are we talking about here? And Novus Ordo Seclorum, New World Order, has a resonance with Nazi Germany because in Nazi Germany you have Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler's first book, the most important known book, was called Mein Kampf, but his second book was actually called The New World Order.
What do you feel is the main secret society? The Skull and Bones, or what is it? And what's the name?
Probably the premier secret society is the Bilderbergs. They're so secretive they don't even have a name. They're called the Bilderbergs because they were discovered meeting first in the early 50s in a Bilderberg hotel over in Holland. They were being headed by Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, who was a former SS officer. They are the inner core elite of other secret societies, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and then they draw heavily from a very secretive campus fraternity by the name of Skull and Bones. President George W. Bush and his father, former President Bush, and his grandfather, Prescott Bush, were all members of this Skull and Bones society.
These fraternities are bloodlines, so they go long, back in history. The fact that they walk on the red carpet. The only queens and kings walk on red carpets. So how come your American presidents are doing it? Because they're bloodline. 43 American presidents, all the ones who became president, are directly linked to British monarchs by blood. From Roosevelt, in fact, all of them, all of the ones who became president are linked by bloodline to royal families, and the walking on the red carpet, which is the bloodline, proves it.
There's a group of probably 300 men that control most of the actions of the world. It boils down to what's known as like the 7 families. And between the 7 families, they all pretty much have divided up the earth as we know it.
At the heart of the secret societies lie some of the most powerful people in this country. Alan Greenspan, for example, can be connected to these people. These people run the major banks, major insurance companies. Now, we don't really stop and think about these folks or these organizations, but they exert a tremendous impact on the lives of every single individual citizen.
Well, my name's John Greenwald. I've been doing a website called The Black Vault for about 6 years. I research the connections on what the government has done, the investigations they've done in the past, and what I do is I scan all these documents on the internet and have archived over 107,000 pages on the internet. I was able to come up with a little bit of a weird coincidence with the 9/11 conspiracy. I found a document that was the government research into the terrorist organizations and terrorist groups and what their capabilities were and what exactly they may have been planning in the future. They profiled one in particular, and that was obviously Al-Qaeda. That doesn't really sound too strange, but the strange part is the government publication date on the document. And that publication date was September 10th, 2001, one day before the tragedy struck. So that in itself was very, very strange.
And then Adolf Hitler and his henchmen, people like Himmler and Goebbels, Rosenberg, were always talking about the fact that there was a 1,000-year Reich. They kept on using this term about a 1,000-year kingdom. Then we have George Bush later on talking about the 1,000 points of light. Right? We have George Bush using the term New World Order, I think it was in 2000, on September 11th. And September 11th, 2000, was the first time ever that George Bush used the term, we have to have a New World Order.
In regards to secret societies, yes. I mean, the very nature of man is to form these protective societies and conspire, if you will, breathing together. They all seem to be interlinked. The Illuminati, the Masons, the Club of Rome, P5, the Bilderbergers, the CFR, the Trilateralists. They seem to all be different offshoots of the same general secret club. And it's just a bunch of rich people. It's all people with $1 billion who all get together to decide how to either make more money or how to fleece the sheep, being us. What war is going to happen here or there, or what's going to happen between nations or powers. It's all aspects of political science, which are how to get populations to do what you want to gain further control.
So these terms that are on the dollar bill, that are on flags, let's say in Zurich. In Zurich, you have the headquarters of the Illuminati. The headquarters of World Freemasonry is in Zurich, Switzerland. Over the door of that building is the term Ordo ab Chaos, which means order out of chaos. And Jordan Maxwell and other experts in this subject have talked about that means that the plan of government is to always orchestrate, to engineer chaos in order to create the order, later on. Out of chaos comes the order the people demand. Security. All the events that we see down through time, tribulations caused by government, have this as a central principle. Wars are connected to this.
In researching these secret societies, what I found was really astounding. They're nothing new. They track back through older secret societies. They go back in through Illuminized Freemasonry, back to the Knights Templars, back through the Cathars, back through the Rosicrucians. You go all the way back to the ancient mystery schools of Greece and Egypt. And even those schools do not spring whole cloth into existence. They are remnants of the older secret societies in the world, which date all the way back to the ancient Sumerian civilization. And they left behind clay tablets still in existence, which basically state that they were the product of a colonization by people from space.